What's up with the squad? Back with another video. Y'all seen the titles going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it in the title. Multiple Minnesota officials served by the FBI with grand jury subpoenas for, again, and a lot of this got to do with, the hype that they're trying to do when it comes down to it. Comes down, with a lot of, they trying to hype things up, hype individuals up. When it comes down to Tim Walz, I literally showed a video, my last video. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna show y'all again. Literally Tim Walz, hyping individuals up, buying a fence of his home. You have Attorney General Keith Ellison, Mayor Jacob Frey, a lot of these individuals that are causing all this mess because they know that they're in big trouble when it comes down to this fraud. Here's Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Just revealed that President Trump has instructed Elon Musk to dig into possible fraud at the Social Security Administration. Check it out.
I've been fighting fake news reporters all day long here in the Washington, D.C. swamp who are trying to fearmonger the American people into believing that this administration is going after their hard-earned tax dollars and their hard-earned Social Security checks. So I want to set the record straight on your show tonight, Sean, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do so. President Trump has directed Elon Musk and the Doge team to identify fraud at the Social Security Administration. They haven't dug into the books yet, but they suspect that there are tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments. And so their goal in going into the Social Security Administration is to identify three things. Number one, to identify duplicate payments and to end them. Number two, to identify payments that are going to deceased people who are no longer living and should no longer be receiving that money. And number three, to protect the integrity of this system for hardworking Americans who have been paying into it their entire lives. So rest assured to all of the people watching your show tonight, if you paid into the system, honestly, you will continue to receive your Social Security checks. Do not buy into the lies from the legacy fake news media who are trying to fear you and scare you into believing otherwise. This is what we've seen them do about President Trump for years with every promise that he has made. And he's going in there to protect your hard-earned money. That is the ultimate goal.
And I love it. I truly love it. One thing about it is that a lot of this that they're doing that I absolutely love is a simple fact that they're applying, pressure. They're applying pressure, when it comes down to it, because there's things that definitely need to be done when it comes down to it, with every individual, not just Mayor Frey, but Tim Walz, and the rest of, the gang. Says Minneapolis mayor exposed $250 million secret his wife may be hiding. Says while Mayor Jacob Frey is on national TV screaming for federal agents to get out of his city, a shocking new report suggests he might have a very personal reason for wanting the feds gone. Turns out his wife, Sarah Clark, was a lobbyist for the law firm representing the masterminds behind the Feeding Our Future scandal, the massive $250 million fraud that stole food out of the mouths of hungry children. And y'all can find this. It's at Ricky Doggin, and I seen this, and I was like, this is wild. This is definitely wild. Says while you were paying taxes, millions were allegedly being funneled into luxury cars, jewelry, coastal homes by fraudsters with Frey's own inner circle. Says otherwise, just a smokescreen to stop the DOJ from digging deeper into City Hall. The connections between the mayor's office and historic theft are terrifying. You need to see the proof. And I'm not even gonna lie, it's definitely. I feel like it's definitely like it's a scary thing, thinking about it, and just seeing how bad things are. It's truly sickening. I tell you that. It's definitely sickening. Minneapolis Mayor Frey, literally, just listen to this.
Imagine if that city or that town was suddenly invaded by thousands of federal agents that do not share the values that you hold dear. Imagine if your daily routines were disrupted. The local cafe that you eat at was shut down because they're scared that their own family might get torn apart. Imagine if schools shut down and suddenly parents got to figure out what to do for daycare.
Trust and believe, however it goes, when it comes down to it, it's definitely insane for the simple fact that you have this individual that, you know, is lying, trying to make something, you know, worse and sound bad, and try to play the victim when they see how bad they're doing things, not only when it comes to the fraud, but inciting violence as well. Truly, truly sickening. You got here, Nick Shirley. Check it out.
Well, the only reason it could be so easy is because somebody has to be getting kickbacks. Because if anyone else was to give away $1 million to your next door neighbor or to some other rando, you'd want to know where that money is going. And so there has to be some sort of reason why they're allowing this fraud to happen. It's not just because it's some random NGO. Somebody has to be getting kickbacks.
One thing about it is that Nick Shirley, you know, I pray, you know, that he is protected. You know, it definitely does get scary, you know, talking about it, you know, definitely exposing a lot of things. Definitely. Says Somali daycare fraud, possibly upwards of 19 billion. Says, you know, our Governor Walz and Mayor Fry involved. Will only want to go to jail. And again, I truly don't want anything swept up under the rug. Check it out.
Creator Nick Shirley, who will be testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee today on the fraud in Minnesota. Nick, it's so great to have you on. I first came to know about you when you exposed the pipeline of weaponized migration that came all the way from Venezuela through the Darien Gap and up to our country. So you were on the ground doing that. And here you are now in Minneapolis on the ground uncovering this. Really quickly, how did you get this tip?
Yeah, I had known about the fraud back in June, actually. Some locals inside Minnesota started telling me about the fraud. However, at that time, they were too afraid to speak out against the fraud because they're afraid of the backlash they might face inside of their own communities. And so over the past few months, I've been acquiring information, and the man in my video, the man by the name of David, he had all the information regarding all of the fraud. And so that's how I was able to go and make that video.
So the president saying that this scandal, this fraud is now could be as much as $19 billion. It's just astounding amount of money. Based on the investigation that you've done, is it possible that that amount of money and how widespread this fraud is could have happened without the knowledge of local leaders, be it the mayor, Governor Walz, or even people like Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman who's from this area?
Yeah, I think a large portion of them knew about the fraud. I mean, Mayor Fry openly said on live national TV that the fraud is very real. And so I think it'd be wrong of us to say that they did not know about the fraud, because they have openly admitted to the fraud. And they've openly admitted to knowing that fraud has been going on for so long and they hadn't done anything to stop it. That's why.
What's your best guess, if indeed they are complicit or somehow know about it, do you believe that this is a money laundering scandal or just, straight up enrichment?
Maybe a bit of both. I mean, with them moving the money through the airports, that's not a secret.
That's right.
That millions of dollars has gone through the airports inside of Minnesota. And then it is interesting how Ilhan Omar's net worth has gone from negative to tens of millions of dollars.
It sure is.
Exactly.
It sure is interesting. And by the way, the TSA is pretty much run by it's almost all of them are from the Somali community there in Minneapolis. So that, the fact that these luggages with cash went through is another interesting thing. Now, since you've done this report, I know
it's more so of like their own operation. You literally have, and you turn around and there's Somalians everywhere. There's Somalians in the police department. There's Somalians in that's handling your food. There's Somalians that supposedly have these daycares and have these healthcare services. There's obviously Somalians that work at these airports that just letting individuals through, with money. They said $1 million allegedly has been through the airport an hour. $1 million an hour. That's scary. You have the chill even think. $1 million an hour? Like what? What are we doing? You have this whole community. It might as well be named Somalia.
You've been in that community, trying to dig into more. Have you had any comments from the Somali community? Are they like, why are you here investigating? Or are some of them, embarrassed and saying, we're embarrassed and we want to help you because this shouldn't have happened?
Yeah, I haven't received any messages of people wanting to help combat the fraud. I have gone there since I posted my original video, and it did get pretty hostile. Literally, people were stopping outside of intersections to come and yell at me, saying this wasn't my job to speak about the fraud, that they had governors and they had attorney generals who were there to take care of the fraud. And I told them, well, plain and simple, they failed because American tax dollars have been stolen from people, whether it be from a Somalian man or from an American man. The whole point is that fraud is happening, and it does not matter what race you were.
Well, Nick, I haven't seen a lot of Somali Americans coming out and saying, our daycare centers are closed. We don't have a place to put our kids. Clearly, this was fraud. Nick, Shirley.
Exactly. So you have all these businesses closing, you know, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to, you don't see nobody complaining. They're not complaining because they've made the money. They made enough money, you know, to sit down and not complain about it. They're literally just telling on themselves. They're telling themselves. Nobody hasn't came out and complained. If you know everybody runs the internet, especially these Somalians that, you know, have been posting, they haven't complained not one time of saying that. So I definitely love the fact that, you know, calling it out. They haven't said anything. And that's truly wild to me. There's a reason why I'm showing this. This is another reason why I feel as if, you know, again, this is more so of the I don't know what tactics they're trying to like push for or what they're trying to do, but it's definitely just insane just what they're doing and what they're saying, especially Mayor Fry. You know, he's literally saying he's trying to demand the FBI to release the BLM activists that stormed into the church, that had the whole thing together. Check out what he said.
Yeah, so do I want to comment on Nikema Levy Armstrong's arrest? It's a gross abuse of power, and she should immediately be released.
It's a gross abuse of power, and she needs to be released. This individual right here says been arrested for taking part in the Minnesota church invasion. She's the one that had it all together. How I know that is that, you know, if you watch this video here, and I'm going to skip up a little bit to where Don Lemon was talking to this individual. He even gave her a kiss on the cheek, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Okay.
How are you?
Good
to see you. We're on. We're not saying what it is.
Dude is a cornball.
What's going on, but thank you. Tell us why you're doing this.
So
this is Nikema Levy Armstrong. She's on the show on Friday.
Nikema Levy Armstrong, civil rights attorney, longtime activist here in the community. And, you know, we protest and do activism in all kinds of ways. This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now. We've had a lot of success with the times we have done Operation Pull Up.
Yeah.
After George Floyd was killed, we went to the Police Federation head's home and staged a demonstration there. We also went to the head of the U.S. Marshals from Minnesota after Winston Smith was killed by the U.S. Marshals. We went there after Dante Wright was killed.
Okay, so let me tell y'all something. They doing all of this, and they're saying, okay, I want to make this make sense. Why they go to a church? Like, out of all places, not only did they go to, they went inside of a church during service. God sees everything. God sees everything. I don't, and the crazy thing is, I don't see how people think this is okay. I see so many people complaining and talking about, oh, ICE did this, ICE did. Where's all the people that's complaining about these individuals protesting inside of a church? But y'all so-called praise God and y'all are godly and this, that, and the other. How could you literally live with yourself and y'all support individuals that went and did this? Went inside of a church, scaring the children. They could have at least waited. Even having that being on, you know, that's church grounds. Even waited till individuals like after the service, good, you know, them outside. They went inside. That's disgusting to me. I don't care. Anybody can y'all can say whatever y'all want. That's disgusting to me, bro. I don't know about y'all, but that's definitely disgusting. Y'all let me know your comment thoughts down below. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to everybody. Catch y'all next one.